about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. So interestingly, I still every now and then get patients who actually want my opinion. You know, if that has changed in the last many years where people don't respect doctors, they aren't seeing their same doctor. It's always a different person every time, so they're not bonding. They don't necessarily trust them, especially with what happened during COVID and the back and forth between mandates. And so, but I still every now and then have a patient that really, really wants my endorsement or wants my thumbs up. And oftentimes it's related to marijuana, where they will call up the telemedicine company I work for, or I work for a couple of them, and they'll say, look, yeah, I have a high deductible or I don't have insurance. Can I use pot for this? Can I use weed? Are you okay with that? Will you give me permission? Now, you know, it's interesting. As a mom of two boys, you know, my boys are of the age now where they don't ask my permission. They even, in fact, anything I say, they look at me like I'm ready to be put into a nursing home. Nobody asks for my permission anymore. So when a patient does ask for my permission, I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So I guess I still have some respect coming to me and some authority in some manner, but I do not give permission to use marijuana. And I know a lot of you are upset about that. And it's because I can't. It's technically not legal federally, and it's not risk-free. And so even though people want to use marijuana for sleep or for anxiety or for nausea or for mental health issues or for muscle spasms, now I can't, you know, especially from a physician that works in multiple states, blanketly say, go ahead and use some random cannabis. I can't do that. I don't know what you're getting. It's not FDA approved. I don't know if it's tainted with anything or laced with anything. And there was a patient that called a couple days ago saying that he needed a note to go back to work. And I asked, okay, well, why? What happened? Why were you off work? And he had a major psychotic episode after using marijuana. And so with there being side effects, I know a lot of you are very frustrated that doctors aren't saying just go ahead and use it. And another thing many of you need to kind of be aware of is even though many people who do use marijuana recreationally or medicinally said, I can't believe I didn't use this before. Just like we've heard with a lot of anecdotal cases of seizure control, which is why now we have medications that are FDA approved for Dravet's and some serious seizure disorders. But it's not the panacea. If you're having insomnia, and let's say you are a 48-year-old woman, is it because your estrogen is dropping? Going to marijuana and becoming dependent on that to sleep might not be the right treatment for you. It might help you and you might feel better. I mean, trust me, menopause is no walk in the park. But there might be another treatment. If you are having severe muscle spasms, I can't tell you how many people who have told me that they were self-treating their muscle spasms with marijuana only to later find out they had MS, multiple sclerosis, or something else, or neuropathy. I've had patients who were never diagnosed with diabetes because they treated their foot pain or their neuropathy with marijuana on their own. And I don't make any money telling you guys to go to a doctor and get yourself, or a medical provider, and get yourself examined. That I'm licensed in Wisconsin and Iowa and Mississippi and Alabama and multiple states. Nobody goes, Daliah, thank you for telling them to go to a random physician. I'm going to now pay you a kick. No, that doesn't happen. And people are very reluctant to go and see a medical provider. Well, it's going to cost too much. I could go and use marijuana and it'll manage my symptoms. The medical industry is not ready to say you could forego a workup, forego an exam, finding out what's wrong with you to use marijuana. Now, the medical system wants us to do that. They want us to do that badly. If you have pain, rather than spend money on an orthopedic specialist, a neurologist, a pain management specialist, MRIs, they would love it if patients just go and self-treat. That's one of the reasons why we have a big problem with alcohol, big problem with narcotics, problem with marijuana, because people are self-treating. See, I'm of the mindset, let's figure out what you have. Let's figure out what you have, do what we can to treat. Excuse me. And if we cannot control you legally, we ask for permission in the states that allow, medicinal marijuana or whatever to be considered as an adjunct to your care. That's not what's happening. People don't have health insurance, or the health insurance they have is ridiculously expensive, high deductibles. They can't find a doctor, so they're using telemedicine. And I'm grateful for telemedicine being there because people get access to a medical provider, but they want their telemedicine provider to say, that's good. Go ahead. Why don't you try some pot? Try some this. People are longing for the old-time doctors who said, look, if your cough is bothering you, take a little brandy. Take a little schnapps. You have a Bible cyst, take the good book and smack it. People want the MacGyver medicine, where they could just find something in their house, grab some super glue, and sew up their own cuts. But we can't do that. We doctors can't recommend that because we'll get sued and we'll lose our license. If you cut yourself and I say, go to Home Depot and get some super glue or Gorilla Glue, I could lose my license. If you're having severe neuropathy or muscle spasms and I tell you to just go and get some weed, again, I could lose my license. Now, people ask, what's Trump going to do in terms of marijuana? Will it finally be federally allowed? Well, it's still a scheduled substance, and we do know that Trump is supportive of legalizing marijuana, but he wants it studied more. He wants us to look at it more. So it'll be interesting to see if RFK Jr. also takes that on. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH, don't go away.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So I get to speak to a lot of young people because I teach, I mentor, and, my sons are Gen Z, and I'm just around a lot of Gen Zs. And, my boys do want to get married. They're of the mindset that they do want to get married. But there's a lot of men out there and women out there that look and see what happened with their parents. And marriage does not look like what it used to be chalked up to be. And having a lot of friends of mine who have been divorced, the younger generations are seeing our generation. Well, I'm Gen X, so Gen X, baby boomers, older millennials going, oh, no. A divorce is worse than anything that could ever happen. There was a patient that called up whose divorce has been going on now for years. And his wife has been accusing him of things that he's not doing. And he's just never had anxiety, never had depression. And now it's just, he can't take it anymore. And I look at this and I'm blown away because I've been married now 20 some years. I have to do the math. But if I do, that also ages me. So let's just say we've been married over 20 years, over 25 years. We got an anniversary coming up. I could never imagine divorcing him. But I could imagine how bad a divorce could be based on what my friends have gone through. They don't get to see their kids. Another woman or man enters the household and now has access to the kids, can punish them, can manipulate them. I always wondered about, how could I protect my kids if somebody else ends up coming into their household and I'm not there? If I ever broke up with Corey or vice versa. And that's very unsettling. It's also very unsettling that a person that you have sworn your life to, and in sickness and in health till death do you part, could then turn around and be your biggest enemy, your only enemy. And they know a lot about you. So there's a lot of material they could use. And so here you're spending your most intimate moments with. You're being very vulnerable with. And years later, all of that could be used against you. And when I talked to people who said the divorce was the best thing, it was miserable going through, but it was the best thing for me. You're looking, the younger generation is like, why is everybody pushing for us to get married if the average marriage breaks up? And I'm kind of nervous about that because, we do see a big change when we don't have as much of a nuclear family. We have, different, that we talk about kids and mental illness is on the rise. Some people want to blame vaccines. Some people want to blame computers. How much of it could also be blamed on they don't necessarily have that stable home? I mean, I went to 12 schools. I moved a lot. I hated moving multiple times. Well, if you get a divorce and, if things change and then, mom or dad moves in with somebody else, you're moving a lot too. And so when kids grow up in that, or kids see what their parents went through and they see the hell that a divorce causes and the money, yet are you surprised that they're looking at marriage going, not that exciting? Also, innately, many people don't want to be monogamous. They're like, look, how do I commit to one person the rest of my life? And that one person may choose not to sleep with me because they get mad at me or they don't. And these are, you need to talk to the younger generations. I see this all the time going, well, Gen Z, they just don't care. They're just trying to be defiant. Don't be saying that about Gen Z. They actually look at what has been traditional and they're questioning it. Do they really have to go to a school such as the one where Luigi Mangione went to, where you have teachers praising him for murder? They're going to question, why am I spending money on that? You had a lot of Gen Zs who go, why is everybody assuming I'm going to vote Democrat? I kind of like what Trump has to say. And I was on campus right before the election, and I couldn't believe how many MAGA hats I saw. So the Gen Z is starting to reject a lot of what has been the mantra and what has been traditional and that you didn't question. But maybe that could be going in the wrong way, because I really love the idea of monogamy, commitment, sharing a life together. A big issue we're having now is so many people are single that if they don't have kids that can help take care of them, it kind of helps when you have a family close by and you have a spouse that can help take care of you. We don't want any spouse to be overburdened and doing medical care that they cannot give. So you need to ask for help. But you have a lot of single seniors out there. You have a lot of people that didn't necessarily have a big family, so they don't have kids that live, in the same zip code that could come over and help. And so society can really struggle if we don't figure out a way to encourage a family unit. And so let's go back to then divorce. I always had said that when you get married, you need to have marital counseling. I know a lot of you are like, oh, please. Now I got to think about it. How many of you know how to fight? People don't know how to fight with their spouse. People don't understand that a fight doesn't necessarily mean divorce. The very first fight you have during that honeymoon stage is a real deal breaker for some. Because what was all lovey-dovey and everything's all excited and we're going to hide our crazy and we're going to get through the marriage, and then all of a sudden, they blow up at each other and they're like, oh, I don't think I like you. This is kind of ugly. So, what time are people spending to kind of learn each other? Now, back in the olden days, or World War II and World War I, you fell in love with somebody and you didn't have a lot of premarital sex at the time, so you got married pretty quickly. Courtships were 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a month or two. Now, you didn't spend a lot of time. You didn't live together before you got married. That started to be a lot, that kind of started more in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And then some people started living together going, okay, you know what, this is fine. Do we really have to do the marriage thing? We could save the money. Marriages got expensive. Economically, that's the main reason why Gen Zs will say they're not thinking about marriage, because these average weddings and the alcohol and the food and the clergy and the backdrop and the pictures, it's ridiculous. That money could go to a down payment on a ridiculously expensive house, and they're going to spend all that on a 4-hour wedding? Doesn't make sense to them. But we need to realize that these kids are really freaked out about divorce. And divorce is scary. I don't ever want to go through that. What I've heard my friends go through, wow, that sucks. And what you all have gone through. It's so we need to maybe, if we want to, kind of get some of our family structure back and nuclear family back, is have more couples counseling. And don't wait until the marriage is falling apart. Learn how to fight. Learn how to deal with the in-laws. The in-laws early in marriage can be very devastating. Learn how to deal with the pregnancy and when kids come. I've had a lot of guy friends who told me they feel absolutely neglected. They were, the apple of their wife's eye until the kids came, and now the wife doesn't even notice them anymore. How do you deal with that? And so, the neglect that dads may feel, the neglect that moms might feel. And there's a lot of resentment that starts to grow in relationships. That's what happens. any partner you've ever had, business partner, somebody feels like they're doing more than the other. So these are things that could be premaritally taught, educated, explained, and even managed. And say, look, when this happens, and it's going to happen, it's common, very normal. How are you going to deal with that? But right now, people are just jumping in and spending a lot of money, and then they fight, and then they go after each other, and it's a mess. 1-877 Doc Dali.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Doc Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. So something that is very, very difficult that many of us have to deal with sooner or later is the discussion of an elderly family member going into assisted living or a nursing home or an elderly care facility. And it's not easy because the family member will usually respond to, oh, hell no. Right? It'll cause fights. It'll cause guilt. And so we keep kicking the can down the road as it pertains to that subject. And you're kicking the can down the road can sometimes be worse for that family member than just ripping off the bandage. But families struggle when it comes to this. And so first, how do you identify if this needs to be done? All right. And you need to identify the red flags because you're going to have to share those red flags with the person of interest who needs to possibly now transition to a different living facility. So one is, are they being forgetful? And is that forgetfulness going to hurt them? Are they accidentally taking 2 pills when they should only be taking 1? Are they leaving the stove on? Are they leaving the doors unlocked? If their memory is not there and they can't protect themselves, that's a concern. Could they hurt others? If you're leaving your stove on, or if you're not dousing out your fire during the winter, now you could cause your place to go up in smoke, and then other family or other neighbors. If you're driving and you're not, shall we say, in tune with all the nuances with driving, you could run over one of your neighbors. You could run into their house. So you need to be aware of what their functions are and watch them and look for those. So you got to make sure they're not going to harm themselves. You got to make sure they don't harm others. You have to make sure that they are not, shall we say, trying to hide and compensate. A lot of times they will. Now, one sign of them trying to hide and compensate that is sticking with what they know. So they might repeat themselves a lot. And it might be the same conversation you're having with them because they don't have a lot of other conversations, or they don't want to venture into uncharted territory and then look like they're not as competent. So they might just stick to what they know and only say the same thing or only do the same thing. And so when you start to see that, that's a sign of them trying to still maintain, a semblance of they got things, controlled. And so it's, a lot of red flags. If they're missing buttons when they dress, if they're not cleaning certain parts of their body, if they're confusing things, losing things, these are signs that they could struggle mentally and cognitively. So how do you bring it up? Well, first and foremost, hopefully you have family members that are helping you. It's very difficult to go at this alone. And you usually don't want the in-laws, the son-in-law, the daughter-in-law, to look like they're a part of that decision. Because already there's a lot of relationships that are strained because of in-laws. So this you can't, if you're like, oh, my husband deals with everything for me. No. Or my wife handles it. No. Okay, it has to be you. If there are other family members, you need to get them involved. Now, a lot of us have family members that are completely, distant. So it ends up being you. And you don't bring up the conversation and go from 0 to 90. The big mistake people make is the discussion on moving. They go, okay, we just need to sneak it up on them and then just do it. And I don't think that's right. And I understand people say, but if you start talking about it, they get nervous and then they'll run away and then there's other ways to talk about it. There's other ways to transition. You don't have to go from 0 to 90 with these things. And so first and foremost is your family member. You need to understand what your family member is thinking. They're thinking that once they leave their home environment, they're going to die. They're thinking that moving to assisted living means everybody's already washed their hands of them and that they're going to accelerate. Their death is going to accelerate. They are also thinking that the people that work there want the empty bed and that they might not have the care they need so that the bed opens up. These are concerns that people are thinking. And the reason why is they knew that Jenny or Jane went to this one facility and was dead in 2 weeks. No wonder they're scared. They also think that the family's going to stop visiting them. That now they're going to be, their final chapter on this earth is now going to be, remembered as, them having to be in assisted living or a nursing home. These are things that are going through their head. Another big thing people are concerned about is getting sexually assaulted. And those concerns are not ill-founded. I remember having patients grabbing me saying, he's touching me. And I'd look over, I was a student, I'd look over, and the staff member's like, oh, she has dementia. No one's touching her. And I'm like, how do we know? Who's working at night? Where's the cameras? Yeah, and that's scary. And so, I've had conversations with my children, and I think everybody who might be in that position later, I think we all are going to be in that position later, talk to your children about what you're concerned about. And hopefully your children will understand that these are concerns you have. I want to know that I'm not going to be assaulted. I want to know that I'm not going to be neglected. If I'm in pain, I want to know that somebody's going to be there to give me pain medication. I don't want to be feeling tortured. Those are concerns I have. Now, most facilities are fantastic, and they ensure that this doesn't happen. But, there's been, reports, and there's been stories, and these are the things that older people talk to each other about. So you need to have conversations about that, and how you broach the conversation to say, look, then hopefully you do it before they have memory problems. Where, look, if you start to struggle and you're going to hurt yourself or hurt others accidentally, where do you want to go? Oh, I just want to die. I need another option. Okay, duly noted. Take me in the backyard and shoot me. No, I need another option than that. What would you like us to do? This is going to be something we're going to have to later address, but I want to follow your wishes to the best of our ability. Now, if you have a family member that's already there, well, time is of the essence. You can't dink around another 2 weeks or 4 weeks. If they could possibly hurt themselves, you need to do something now. Now, you as a child you're going to feel guilty. You're going to be like, well, they didn't want to go. They were yelling and screaming. They were crying that I was taking them to an institution or whatever. And they're going to be mad. Listen, you're going to feel guilty no matter what. If they hurt themselves at home or set fire or hurt their neighbors accidentally, you're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel guilty no matter what. Moms always feel guilty. Kids always feel guilty. Dads always feel guilty. The guilt will be there. So don't be acting to prevent the guilt. You're going to feel guilty no matter what. You need to be able to, sleep at night and know that you did the best thing for that family member. Now, research where you're taking them. Research who's going to come into the home to help them. And you're going to have to be a little firm. If your family member is not ready to go to an assisted living, but they can't live alone and you want to bring somebody in, say, this is your choice. You get one of two choices. And I know they might be passive aggressive saying, you have somebody come in here, I'm going to suck it to them. I'm going to, well, then if you do and they leave, then we have to move you into look, we're trying to work with you. Okay. But these are things you can't do on your own. And we know it's not easy. I'm going to have the same issue and I'm having the same conversation with my kids, but sometimes you just have to, do it. But you also need to ensure that their safety you're not going to just dump them in this assisted living and never visit them, that you will be on top of things for them. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, don't go away. Hi guys, Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. Totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So, is healthcare going crypto? Should you buy crypto? A lot of talk about crypto lately. I am not a risk taker. I'm also not a finance person, as you guys have been able to tell. I probably make the least amount of money in radio than any other radio host because I'm not a risk taker. Just want to do my job. Just want to teach you guys and keep it simple. But Bitcoin, which from what I understand, maybe, I think, was it El Salvador that decided to embrace cryptocurrency? and now Argentina might and other countries might. Bitcoin went from being whatever it was when it started years ago to now being about $100,000+ per coin. I did buy some Bitcoin. I did not have $100,000. So I bought a 0.0008 piece of a Bitcoin. They don't mail it to you. Because I'm like, do I put it? I have like a cabinet of medical antiques. Do I get this 0.008 piece and with a little magnifier on it, and I put in a piece of plastic or casing? What do I do? Do I have a guard watch it? But I did decide this last week or two. Why? Why did I decide to buy some crypto? Because my hubby was on board. I don't do anything without my hubby being on board too. And when he's like, I'm hearing, some of this crypto might be a good idea. I'm like, fine, I'll do it. Let's do it. Especially since bonds are going down. Remember I told you guys to invest in bonds because the rate was like 6 point something and then it went to 5 point something. I'm like, that interest rate is better than other things, so buy some bonds. Now that the interest rates are dropping, it's like, okay, well, let's kind of look at other things. And cryptocurrency is, I don't want to call it fake. It's not fake, it's real, but you just can't see it. It's a currency that has a not like a value like gold or silver, but its value is what people are willing to pay for it. It's very volatile. And we've heard of a lot of people make some major bucks on it. I've also known a lot of people to lose money. And it's not something I would ever recommend. But I'm involved. Now that I hear that healthcare may go crypto, healthcare costs are high. The value of the dollar is dropping. Apparently, is it Argentina where you could rent? There's a landlord that will rent apartments with crypto. And as we start to see more entities embrace it, I'm assuming it's going to go up. It's going to go up and down. But now Trump is apparently pro-crypto. And so if he does want, I forget, I don't know if this was an exact quote, but he'd love to be us to be the cryptocurrency country of the world. He wants us to be the best country at everything. And if we're a little behind, the curve on the crypto market, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to get us more involved. So basically, and again, I'm no expert, but it's a digital currency. They have to work within a secure sort of blockchain, I think they call it. And everything is stored on a digital ledger. You don't necessarily have a safe in a bank. You don't have necessarily federal regulation of this. And so we're being told that some people's crypto can very easily get stolen. It's online. And for those of you that ever lost a social media account, when you lose it, it's gone. When somebody hacked my Instagram and they had access to my pictures and they could post under me. Now, this is why I never got involved with crypto. I was very intimidated by how you don't have access to your digital assets in a heartbeat. And that kind of frightened me. But there's a lot of talk that crypto may be the way to secure our debt, to secure our healthcare records. There was, I guess, just another hack where millions of people's medical information got into the hands of hackers. And so a speculative currency that uses a network called blockchain with encryption and transactions, it's no wonder that as we are so dependent on the web and internet and the cybersphere, that people are now already more comfortable with that sort of landscape. I mean, look, you're buying your Christmas presents using a credit card. You're typing in a number. You're not handing the internet cash. You're not seeing that $20 bill, or for some of my relatives, $5 bill, going into the hand of somebody. You're just typing in a number, or you're hitting a key. and the transaction happens. And it's because somewhere there is a digital number that's going up or down based on what you have access to. So it's not a big step for people to go, well, then we're already doing exchanges online. Why not with crypto? And so I'm not here to go over all the risks and all the benefits because I'm learning as I go, and I'm trying to learn as quickly as I can. But when I heard that healthcare might consider it, Investopedia says blockchain technology could revolutionize the way that healthcare data is stored and transmitted. They say blockchain tech may be the solution for the industry because it sports an ultra-secure cryptographic database and shared ledger that can provide speedy and accurate communication. They say using blockchain, healthcare systems could store more medical records confidentially. They could update patient data across multiple facilities and locations in real time with a high level of security. They said this would free up time and resources in healthcare facilities to be further dedicated to patient care and innovation rather than administration. They say patients, rather than companies and firms that claim ownership of their data, could reclaim their information and charge the hospitals for using it through tokenization. Patients could refuse to have their information monetized or force these companies to pay them to share it with others. And they say already several companies are using blockchain in an effort to enhance healthcare and a lot of their tech, not on a national scale, but I mean, I'm trying to learn and understand this as quickly as possible. You know, I'm kind of frustrated that at my age, I have to relearn something. I kind of liked being an age where I knew a lot about medicine. I knew a lot about media, knew a lot about politics, knew a lot about parenting, economy, relationships. And all of a sudden now I'm like, what? I don't know. I can't stand that I don't know much about this. And then to be told that healthcare could turn crypto, I'm a little nervous about that. And I'm also nervous because you have not proven to me that you can manage hacking. When I am hearing that healthcare systems are getting hacked, you really want me to put thousands of dollars into something that could get hacked? At least with the bank, we have protection. We have the FDIC. Now, we're being told that with this new presidency, there might be more regulation. There might be more protections. And once that happens, Bitcoin and all of these are going to go through the roof. So, again, I am not telling you to buy it. I'm not telling you to not buy it. That's between you and your financial person. I love the idea of being diversified. You know, I was so happy that I bought NVIDIA. And it was interesting because NVIDIA was expensive at the time. So everybody's like, well, you don't want to buy when it's high, but apparently it still went up. And a lot of us of Gen X had friends or family members who bought Apple early on. I didn't have money for stocks. I never did. So I never got that Apple or Microsoft win. But this crypto might be our chance. It's just, I'm very still reluctant and scared. But we might see healthcare jump on board soon. 1-877 Doc Daliah.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.